Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. My name is Alexander Kemp.
My name is Charlotte Martin.
My name is Carlos Bernabel.
I'm John Chirello.
A bus operator at a TA Surface and your administrative vice president.
I am the recording secretary. I have 34 years on the job as a car maintainer B, which is a machinist title.
I'm a bus operator by trade with 27 years on the job and your financial secretary.
A signal maintainer, and your TWU Local 100 president.
This is all of our fight.
This is our contract.
This is our future.
This is our union,
When
and
we
when we fight, we
win.
win. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to TWU Local 100's 2026 Mass Membership Meeting. I'm John Chirello, a signal maintainer by trade, and I have the honor of being the 13th president of this great union. All the benefits you are entitled to, fair pay, excellent health care, your days off, safety measures, everything you enjoy, were hard-won by previous members of this union who fought tooth and nail and sometimes died to achieve them. The founder of TWU, Mike Quill, was an Irish immigrant who was no stranger to the struggle. He had been a member of the Irish Republican Army before he came to New York and began working in transit. Quill was determined to fight for a better quality of life and dignity for himself and his fellow workers. Rather than raising wages, the bosses spent an enormous amount of money trying to break the union and its spread. They were not successful. It took years, but the Transport Workers Union was recognized by management and eventually won their first contract. The bus depot on 11th Avenue in Hell's Kitchen, where some of you work, is named for Quill, and we celebrate him every year to keep the memory of this extraordinary fighter alive. Quill's spirit is still with us today, every time we go toe-to-toe with management. In nearly 100 years, the bosses haven't changed. Their goal is still to extract as much from you as possible while giving as little as possible in return. And our goal is still to fight them every step of the way. We serve America's greatest metropolis, the city that never sleeps. We keep the buses and trains rolling without a break. But that's not all we do. We drive school buses to get children to and from school safely and run the Assessor Ride call center. We operate horse carriages and tour buses to give tourists a taste of this wonderful city and others. We have staff analysts and digital workers in the MTA, and we have members in the Transit Museum stores and New York Waterway. Within Local 100, we have 7 departments: the Car Equipment Division, Maintenance Away, Map Stower, MTA Bus, School Buses, and Private Bus Lines, Rapid Transit Operations, Stations, and TA Service.
My name is Matt Ahern. I'm the Vice President for the Car Equipment Department. We represent almost 5,000 members across 6 different titles: car inspectors, road car inspectors, cleaners, property protection agents, maintainers, and helpers. I'd like to give a shout out to my Division Chair, Rob Ruiz, all my Division Vice Chairs, and our Executive Board members.
Hi, my name is Richard Rocco, Vice President of Maintenance Away. We represent roughly 8,000 members. I'd like to give a shout out to each of my chairmen: Chris Canty, Line Equipment Signals; Carlos Albert, Track; Kenny Bachu, Structure; and Steve Higgins, Power. These chairmen handle the day-to-day affairs of the department, and it's well appreciated. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Donald Yates. I'm your Map Store Vice President. We represent close to 7,000 workers. We represent bus operators, bus maintainers, traffic checking, staff analysts, computer specialists, collecting agents, and supply logistics. I want to give a special shout out to Mapstone Division 1 Chairman Sean Battaglia, Mapstone Division 2 Chairman Claude Marshall, Mapstone Maintenance Division Chairman Scott Steinberg, and Mike Wren, Mapstone Maintenance Director.
Hi, I'm Danny D'Amato, Vice President PBL. I represent MTA Bus, school buses, and private operations. We have over 6,000 members and growing throughout multiple states. I want to give a shout out to my division chairs, Mike Capucci, MTA Bus, Tom Monaco, private operations, and Gus McGravi, school buses.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Tremel Thompson, and I am the Vice President of RTO. We represent about 7,500 members in this department. I would like to give a shout out to my division chairs, Chris Drummond and Lamar Burke, and the rest of the team. And people always ask, what does RTO do? Think about New York City as a human body. RTO is the veins and the arteries of that body.
Hello, my name is Robert Kelly. I'm the Vice President of Stations Department. We are comprised of 4 sections: supply logistics, collecting agents, also cleaners, and station agents. I'd like to give a big shout out to Ms. Nicolette Brown, our division chair. I'd also like to give a shout out to Ms. Coulter, our recording secretary, and our vice chairs, Mr. Gregory Ward, Pedro Rivera, and Michael Littlebear, and Vanessa Jones. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gary Rosario, Vice President of TA Surface in Brooklyn. I represent 4,000 bus operators and maintainers. I also would like to give a shout out to my 2 amazing division chairs, Andre Armstrong of buses, Danny Escona of maintenance. I also want to give a shout out to my 6 depot chairs who represent the members throughout Brooklyn.
All of our departments together are the lifeblood that makes New York, New York. We move the largest and most diverse city in America. We get millions of people to work and school every day. We help generate $5.5 billion in economic activity every day. Now that's real power. That power will be put to the test in 2026 because this is a contract year. Ridership is the highest it's been since the pandemic, and that's thanks to us. The MTA will receive over $1.5 billion over the next 3 years from 3 new casinos that will be built in New York. And that's money that has to go to operating costs, unlike the money from congestion pricing, which can only go to capital projects. This year, we're going to ask for more. We're going to ask for fair and decent wages to keep up with the rising cost of living because of the world-class service we deliver. Last year was a year of preparation. I had been your president for just a few weeks when 2,000 of us went to Albany to flex our political muscle for Lobby Day in March. Just a few days later, as the New York State Legislature was finalizing the MTA budget, I visited members of the State Assembly and Senate to support our efforts to have more capital work assigned to the TWU workforce. The result, a commitment to secure hundreds and hundreds of in-house jobs that otherwise would have gone to contractors. In March and April, we conducted new officers training for RTO, CED, stations, and school buses, getting members more familiar with becoming representatives for their fellow workers. In April, we organized the workers at the Transit Museum and stores in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And less than 2 weeks later, members of New York Waterway voted overwhelmingly to ratify a new 5-year contract with substantial raises. Let's talk about crime. In 2025, we endured a continued stream of unprovoked predatory assaults. There were many incidents of violent and emotionally disturbed riders biting, beating, and stabbing transit workers while people were stealing trains in Brooklyn and Queens, endangering not only us, but the public. We have been to countless court appearances this year to support our members in their time of need. Last year, I met with New York City's district attorneys to let them know our political support is not guaranteed. We were asking for aggressive bail and remand and longer prison sentences for anyone depraved enough to assault a transit worker, and we're getting them. The attacker of our member, Omar Oquendo, received 10 years in December, and a week later, the attacker of our member, Myron Pollock, received 15 years in prison. I still don't think these sentences are long enough, but there has been an improvement. We've been asking for more cops in the subway system, and last year we saw the increase in police we wanted. Over 1,000 officers went into the stations and aboard trains, while MOW received money to put platform barriers in place. In April, I sat down with PBA President Patrick Hendry to strengthen our already positive relationship with the officers who protect and serve 24/7. This past fall, officers from the Strategic Response Group thanked Local 100 conductor Abdul Adetunji, who helped cops collar a man with a gun at 34th Street while off duty. That's the kind of teamwork that gets results. Last May Day, hundreds of us were in the streets to kick off our contract fight. In front of 2 Broadway, I said this union is not going to stand for massive overspending on consultants and contractors, taking money away from our contract. The following week, the new Mapstoa truck shop opened at Zariga Maintenance Facility, strengthening our ability to keep work in-house and away from outside vendors. By the end of the month, a decision by an arbitrator restored work to 3 MTA bus depots which stood to lose routes under the new Queens redesigned bus plan. We fought and we won. Also in May, members at Student Transportation of America overwhelmingly ratified a new contract for 60 school bus drivers and monitors in the Haddam-Killingworth School District in Connecticut. Just 2 months later, we got a perfect illustration of the kind of contractors the MTA trusts when Sedgwick, the company tasked with processing workers' comp cases for Local 100 members, dropped the ball on 3,500 injury claims. A disgraceful blunder that I personally told Jano Lieber at an MTA board meeting he needed to fix. We ran ads in the Daily News and on 1010 Wins blasting Jano Lieber and the MTA for the debacle and held a press conference after the board meeting. We repeatedly raked management over the coals in the ads. That public takedown was right out of Mike Quill's playbook. Along with our international president, John Samuelson, I hosted the Transportation Trades Department of the AFL-CIO on a fact-finding trip to Quill Depot here in Manhattan, along with Congressman Jerry Nadler. The rest of the summer was just as busy. We had a successful family day in Coney Island with thousands of people showing up to enjoy the event with their loved ones. We participated in parades for Puerto Rican Day, Pride, Dominican Day, West Indian Day, Labor Day, and African American Day. Summer also brought a showdown between our horse carriage drivers of Central Park and the moneyed elite, determined to put their industry out of business. The horse stables happened to rest on some very valuable real estate, and as more and more rich and powerful people jumped on the bandwagon, we took to the papers again, showing the world that we believe an injury to one is an injury to all. The activists in City Council had one final chance last year to end the horse carriage industry, and they failed miserably at a vote where only one member supported the ban. Another win for the TWU. As the year came to an end, I sat down with Pat Kiernan on New York One to talk about the dangers of a system run entirely on one-person train operation. Again, I made the case that Opto would be a disaster for New York City, taking away our ability to quickly react to emergencies in the subway system and maintaining a crime-fighting presence in the middle of every train. The Frontline Soldiers training is back after a few years. We have a 5-module course held at the Union Hall that's designed to train new activists and future leaders. We held a large number and variety of other events as well, including our annual Black History Celebration, Women's Appreciation Day, Eastern European and Central Asian Day, Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival, Italian Day, the annual Walk for Breast Cancer Research, Veterans Appreciation Day, and Indian Day. And if you're active on social media, you've seen that we made great strides on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube, with dozens of posts featuring Local 100 news every month. I can't let this recap go without remembering some of the many brothers and sisters we lost in 2025, including Julia McMillan, who broke barriers as the first Black woman to reach the top leadership of Local 100. Julia was a cleaner who worked her way up from shop steward and gained the respect of both labor and management. She was 85 when she passed, and she will be in our hearts forever. As I said, 2025 was a year of preparation. We've been revving up the engine, and now it's time to start the race. Our contract expires on May 16, 2026, and when the union calls for a rally, be there and bring 2 friends. Management just doesn't give us what we ask for. Bargaining at the table is one part of the equation, but a bargaining committee alone can't win a new contract. It's going to take all of us, because it benefits all of us. Look around you. The union is here in this room. The union is you and the people sitting next to you. And when we stand together, we are a force to be reckoned with. Because when we fight, we win.